This is a Sharpie at the Retired Racehorse Project in the eventing division, and it was really cool because we were able to be in the Rolex Arena, which honestly was a little funny being able to ride the young horses in here because I'm so used to being on Johnny at the Kentucky 4-Star. So it was a really cool experience for the young horses. I was really happy with Sharpie. He mentally was really focused, which was really good because what you can't see is horses were able to kind of come in and out kind of behind the judge's box. So there was a lot for a young horse to be distracted about. And he is been improving drastically in his dressage work as far as his connection. So you see put in a very nice canter transition. I've been working a lot in trying to get his lateral suppleness, which has really helped him because he can tend to get a little tight through his rib cage and then through his back. So this is a beginner novice test, and he has been competing at training level for most of the season. So it was actually really nice to kind of let him come in and put in a nice solid test. And he does a lovely walk transition. It's nice because I can push him for the walk. You want that working walk to keep continuing with the overtrack. And then we have the free walk, which he did pretty good here. Sometimes he can get a little wiggly on me, and then he gets a little distracted right there when he sees a person kind of pop over the hill. So I just try to remind him, shorten my reins back, continue to ask him to keep walking forward so I can continue the marching walk. You want to be able to push that, but just enough to not get the jig. You want to keep the relaxation. So now I'm going to do a transition to the trot. And I just pushed him just a little sideways, which you couldn't see, so he's able to really push up and through, which was nice. But every now and then you can see where he kind of gets a little tight in his shoulder in the rib cage, and he might drop in on a turn or a circle. So I have to kind of keep reminding him to stay soft. I'm doing a little shoulder fore. I'm going to prepare him by sitting, and then I'm going to canter. And you see right there, he kind of dropped, stiffened on that right shoulder. A little bit of that was a little bit of a peak, maybe a distraction of the judge's box, but I was able to reposition him, and he did well. I'm going to push him through this corner here, and then ask for the transition to trot. Did that fairly well. Now I'm just going to make sure I can really get him into the corner, bend him around my inside leg. And we have a kind of that broken diagonal to go to the center line for our halt. And then I'm going to ask him to walk. So we come to the halt through the walk. I wish I would have pushed just a little bit more for the square, but I held it. He did really well, and he ended up, the scoring is a little bit different than at regular eventing. So the dressage score was a 76%, which put us in the kind of top 3 after dressage. So I was really happy. So then moving on to cross country. Cross country is kind of his thing. He's a very brave horse, but again, all of these are small. So with Sharpie, kind of, he respects the bigger fences. So I had to make sure I could keep him in the correct balance since we were doing the novice jumps. And so for the RRP, you have a choice of levels. For the cross country, you can do beginner, novice, or novice. So I chose novice with my horses. So he's actually doing really well. Really been working on keeping his balance, trying to maintain that uphill canter since he can tend to get a little downhill on me sometimes. But again, it's really nice to ride such a brave horse. And he really tends to love the cross country. Jump that table lovely. So now we canter on up the hill. He really was listening, trying very hard. We come around the corner to this little coop over here. Kind of blew the lead change, but that was okay. That's again where that little tightness through the rib cage kind of gets me, that I need to work more on my flat work. So now we're coming to the ditch. So the ditch, you have the option. You can do the smaller beginner novice ditch or the novice ditch. Now, since they've been competing all season, I chose the novice ditch. Shouldn't have been a problem. Jumped it great. Kind of got here on a funny stride, but he saved me. So he was a very good boy there. Pretty clever with his feet. So now I'm going to work on kind of rebalancing him here a little bit. Jump that, lovely. And coming through, I'm coming to the water jump now, and we had the option, so you had like an extra points to jump up the bank, so I chose to jump up the bank. Did that well. Then there was another house you jump, and then we have this long gallop here where you're supposed to show off your horse's gallop, which is pretty fun. So I let him canter on, gallop on up that hill a little bit, and now I'm going to work on rebalancing him. I have a nice, lovely brush jump coming, which is good. It kind of helped him sit up, pull his shoulders up, jump that lovely. And again, we have another option here. You can jump off the bank, or you can do that little brush jump to the right. I chose to jump off the bank, just slip my reins, absolutely no problem. And then we come to the last fence. I think both horses were kind of like, wow, this is a short cross-country course because we only had 12 jumps. But Sharpie did really well, scored very good, which ending up, his cross-country score helped him pull into the lead in the preliminary rounds. So directly after the cross-country, we went to the show jump, which for me was a little bit more difficult because I'm better at cross country than show jumping. So I had to kind of redirect my focus, and Sharpie is a bit the same as me. We do better at cross country than we do show jump. So again, with the poles here, I'm going to take the first rail. He didn't kind of back off that first oxer because again, these are low. So I chose, again, we have a choice of heights that you can choose. You can choose beginner, novice, novice, or training level. And I was kind of weighing between novice and training level, but I chose novice because I felt like, it's a fair amount to do over the weekend, and we also had the freestyle to do, so I wanted to make it a little easier and have a little bit lower heights. But with Sharpie, he doesn't tend to respect the jumps when they're a little lower. So you see there, I've schooled in and outs a million times, and he just wanted to canter right through that. So I'm working on right now trying to rebalancing him. And you see when he comes to a fence that's a little bit different looking, he jumps that quite lovely and stays off of it. So he gives me a really nice feeling when he respects the jump, but that's just more work that I need to do. And again, this is a little vertical, just cantered right past it. And then I got him to come back for that oxer. So he's just, he has a really nice jump, and he, especially coming to this next oxer. Right here he waits, jumps up lovely through the shoulder, and then we come to the last vertical. So this phase was our lowest score, but because he did have such a high score in cross country, it allowed us to still be in the top, and so we moved on to the finals.